It's looking like a great night for football and for the great Knights.
Wicker blasts the ball. That will reach the end zone, so we'll start the high school season with a touchback. And here comes our first look at the Knights offense.
Goes into the end zone for a touchback. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Knights on the 20.
As the Miners defense makes their way out, Tyson McBride returns for Bigham after having 85 tackles last year. Led Bigham in that statistical category. And coach Jace Tupia lead the defensive front. Jackson Blake starts in the gun. Brooks Wild to his right. Motions him in across. 2 receivers on each side. Started on the 25. Pass for Blake, and it's dropped. He's thrown to the right side and right through the hands of his intended receiver. Try to get Blake an easy completion. But here in the footsteps that side, on the opposite side, was Haskett. So 2nd and 10 with 11:56 to go. Ball on the Knights 25. Brooks Wild in the backfield now on his left. Blake back to pass again. Blake gets a completion to the outside. And it's enough for a first down.
Pass is complete to Sean Mayberry. Picks up the first down for the Knights.
Jason Mayberry on the reception. Mayberry dropped the first pass, able to haul that one in on the quick comeback and then make a move to get the first down. So 1st and 10 now from the 33. Just over 30 seconds into this one now. Wild remains in the backfield. Miners with a 4-man front. Another pass, 3 straight passes for Blake. Finds his man wide open in the middle of the field. And it's a big gain for Trey Robinson. The Knights offense started out with a dud after the drop, and since 2 big plays. Is that one Robinson, who we project to be their #1 receiver, with a big gainer there to take them to the Miners 44. Wild remains in the backfield, yet to get a carry. Went for 585 yards last year. They'll give it to Wild this time. Wild trying to get past the left side, almost able to turn the corner, but a miraculous tackle, a diving tackle, I'll add, made that time by Drayson Muliga. So Drayson Muliga on the stop, able to turn what would have been an easy first down into a 4-yard gain as Wild nearly caught the edge that time on the outside run. Jackson Blake, the 6'4 senior, 180 pounds. 2 for 3 to start the day. Alone in the backfield. 5-man rush, gets it out quickly to Wild. Wild's got a first down, and he's dragged out of bounds right around the 30-yard line. Lone Peak's offense operating very efficiently right now. Haven't even had to deal with a 3rd down play yet. The Miners defense trying to figure things out. It's 1st and 10 from the 30 exactly. Wild remains the back to the right. Ball on the left hash. 3 receivers to the right. Robinson, the lone one to the left. They'll get it on the ground to Wild, and he is met instantly. Miners all over it. It'll be a loss of a yard. Will Van Cott, one of the standout defensive ends for the Miners, in on the stop. Marcus Bates also arriving in. .9:45 to go here in our first quarter. 2nd and 11. The ball on the 31 now. Boston Hill in the backfield. And we got flags and whistles. And it looks like it'll be a false start on the Knights. So started so strongly, marching down the field, starting to move backwards a little bit now. It'll be 2nd and 16 from the 36.
5-yard penalty brings up 2nd down and 16 for the Knights.
Gary Trowbridge is the offensive coordinator for Lone Peak. As the Knights offense that last year averaged 25 points per game. That was good for 12th overall in 6A. They face 2nd and 16 here. 5-man rush. Almost gets through, but lofted it up. Robinson tries to make a miraculous catch. Did he haul it in? They will say incomplete. Wow! It looked like an unbelievable catch over the back of the defender, but they say he did not bring it in. What a play to break that pass up by the Miner that time. It was Charger Dottie, the top defensive back for the Miners, able to force the incompletion. It was nearly, we almost had a contender for play of the year here in the first game of the season, as that time it was Robinson who nearly hauled it in off the back of Dottie. 9:11 to go, 3rd and 16, ball on the 36. Pressure had broke through that time, and because of the ensuing chaos, Blake just had to toss it up. And we'll have another whistle as we'll try to figure out what it is. Waiting for clarity on exactly what the flag was. I do believe the play clock went to 0, so we're trying to figure out if it's a delay of game or if the play clock was just supposed to reset. And it is a delay of game. So instead of 3rd and 16, make it 3rd and 21 overall. So 3rd and 21 from the 41 now with 9:11 to go. Still on the left hash. Only a 3-man front. Knights pick it up easily. Ball thrown over the middle of the field, and it's hauled in. Making the catch, reaching back that time, was Jason Mayberry. Mayberry dragged down, so it'll be 4th and about 8. Looks like the Knights offense is going to stay on the field. Coach Brockbank opting to be aggressive with his team at home on their first drive of the season. So it'll be 4th and 8 from the 28. 8:40 to go. Right in the middle of the field. Wild in the backfield to the left. Blake with it. Looks left. Lofts it. Has a man. Robinson. I don't think he got there. Miners make a stand. Lone Peak marched down the field early, but when it mattered most, Bigham gets the stop, albeit with some self-inflicted Lone Peak penalties. But either way, that will do it for the first drive. Our score remains at 0. 8:31 to play. Trying to figure out if we're going to take a media break right now. As I mentioned, we do have a TV broadcast here. And it looks like at the moment we are going to be playing right away. So the Miners offense already out on the field. Ready to go instantly. Lone Peak going to jog out there as well. Right now it looks like Anthony Salazar is actually going to be the starting quarterback. It looks like we will have a media break, so a little bit of a miscommunication there. So we'll take a brief break of our own and then come back with 8:31 to go in the first quarter on Max Preps Radio.
Are you a parent with multiple active kids? Are you at one event while your spouse is at another? That's where Game Mic comes in, the free app that allows anyone to broadcast live audio so that people can listen on the go and feel as if they were there. Game Mic, it's in the emotions.
Hey everyone, this is Chris Rivas, co-founder of Game Mic. Thank you for listening in. Game Mic was built so any school, any program, any sport, anytime can create a live audio broadcast. We believe audio brings moments to life. Download Game Mic today in the app and Google Play Store. Game Mic, it's in the emotions.
What's up everyone? Thanks for listening in to Game Mic. Action should resume as soon as your broadcaster is ready to go. This is
Welcome back inside the Lone Peak High School of the Bigham Miners. Going to start it off right here. They'll go to the ground first. It'll be Hunter Main who gets the carry. Big hole opened by the Miners offense, and it'll be a gain of 6. Anthony Salazar actually the starter. We originally thought it was going to be Arona Kaili, but instead it's Anthony Salazar. So Salazar in the gun now. Fakes the give, rolling out, pressure in his face, lofts it up. Has a man who shakes a few tackles and gets another first down. Tristan Brimhall with the reception. So 2nd and 4 becomes a first down.
First down for the Miners.
7:40 to go here in our first quarter. Ball at the 36 now. Salazar back in the gun. 2 backs to his right. Miners keep it bunched in. This is one of the state's most physical rushing attacks. They give it to Sudbury. He was dragged down for a gain of about 3. As I mentioned, Sudbury, one of the state's most electrifying players. 163 carries on the ground last year, 758 yards overall. Led the team in rushing touchdowns with 16. In terms of receptions, 34 for 590 yards. That was good for second on the team in 4 touchdowns. And one of the only players in the state with over 585 yards on the ground and receiving as well. Salazar. And we'll have a false start. I had difficult seeing who moved first, but I do believe it was the Miners. So back it up a little bit. So instead of 2nd and 8, it'll be 2nd and 13 in a moment. Bot Mulitalo, one of the standouts for Lone Peak. Fihi Monga, another elite player along the defensive line that'll be tasked with containing this physical rushing attack. And it was actually, I believe, a neutral zone infraction or just offsides on the defense. So it ends up being a positive. This goes for 2nd and 3 for the Miners now. 6:45 to go. Sudbury in motion. Salazar bobbled the snap, has to pick it up on the broken play, and he is dragged down instantly. On the stop is Joshua Empey. The senior defensive lineman was quick to capitalize on the bobbled snap from Salazar, but Salazar able to get back to the line of scrimmage, so still 3rd and 13 with 6:20 to go. Fred Fernandez sends in his receiver with the play. Miners offensive line led up front by Nick Hallock. Salazar under center. Motions. Give it to Maine. Maine on an identical play. They ran the first play of the day. Maine gets a huge gain. It'll be a pickup of about 15 to move the chains and keep the Miners offense rolling. Maine on the big pitch and gain to the left side.
Brought down by Easton Anderson.
Easton Anderson credited with the stop. So 1st and 10 from the 42 now. Just under 5:40 to go here. Fred Fernandez, a very accomplished offensive mind in the state of Utah. Teams up with his former Roy defensive coordinator now in Eric Jones to lead Bigham, as we mentioned, to the semifinals last year. Salazar in this offense, got to go. 3 seconds on the play clock, and now they will be hit with a false start. They try to motion in Maine at the last second, but they're whistled for it. So back them up 5. 1st and 15 now from the 47 as they go back to their side of the field. Or excuse me, they will stay on the night side of the field. Lone Peak got to be kicking themselves, marched all the way down the field, and they were probably about 3 yards short of the first down. Great effort from the Miners defensively to drag them down for a loss. We appreciate all of you for joining us tonight to get high school football in the state of Utah underway here on Max Preps Radio. 5:09 to go. Sudbury in motion, and I think we got another offsides. So yeah, neutral zone, just offsides on the defense. So we've seen kind of, first game of the season, right? A little bit of sloppy opportunities for both sides, trying to clean the play up here early. Just about 5 to go now. As we're back to 1st and 10 after we backed it up for the false start, and then we moved it forward 5 for the offsides. Only thing that's changed is the amount of time. 4:50 to go, under 10 on the play clock. Salazar under center. Salazar gives it to Maine. They run the same play they've ran, but this time to the right side. And a bevy of Knights there to drag him down. Mulitalo, one of the key ones in. The sophomore defensive end, 6'4", 255. An exceptional athlete, makes his presence felt on the stop there. Jackson Arrington also in to make the play. Under 4:10 to go. It'll be 2nd and 7 from the 39. Salazar Fakes it to Sudbury. Looks over the middle of the field. Nearly intercepted. There was no one there as Maine collided with both Jackson Arrington and Landon Goff, who were waiting there. Salazar just tried to get rid of it quickly. Miners want a flag, but they're not going to get one. 3rd and 7, 3:56 to play. Or excuse me, third, 3:56 to play in our first quarter, and the ball's on the 39-yard line. Middle of the field. Miners will have a decision to make here, potentially. Salazar in the gun.
3rd down and 7.
Sudbury next to him. Play clock down to 5 again. They'll pitch it out to Sudbury. Sudbury blockers in front of him, but he's dragged down. What an impressive play by Tegan Toll, who sets the edge and makes the play.
He's dropped for a loss by Tegan Towle, Jaden Mayberry, and Easton Anderson.
Easton Anderson and Jaden Mayberry also in on the stop. So it'll be 4th and 8. Miners are going to punt. Send the punt unit on. As the Knights will send someone back, and it'll be Matthias Navahine will be tasked with getting the punt. Riley Wicker back for the punt to send the kick. Nawahid awaits it. And we have more whistles. 4th and 8 from the 40 with 3:05 to play. Back it up again. Mulitalo with a quick get off there. It looks like it'll be a false start on the Miners, so we'll back them up 5. Well, actually, it was just a delay of game. Multiple delay of game penalties here early for Bigham. Or actually, 1 for Bigham and 1 for Lone Peak. I'll correct myself there. Navahine waits on the kick. He'll let it bounce first. Thinking about picking it up. Instead, he won't. And is that going to be down at the 1? It will be. What an impressive play. A beautiful kick that time by Riley Wicker. And able to down it that time was Lucas Talbot. So Talbot forces the Knights to start on their own 1-yard line. Once again, trying to figure out if we're going to be heading for a TV break or not. And looks like we will take a brief break, so we'll be back. We remain knotted at 0 after each team's had one drive. Lone Peak and Bigham back and forth here on Max Preps Radio.
Have you always wanted to be a sports broadcaster but didn't know how to get started? Well, Game Mic allows you to go out and practice, just like we need to practice as athletes. You can't get better without work, so gain that experience on Game Mic.
Are you a parent with multiple active kids? Are you at one event while your spouse is at another? That's where Game Mic comes in, the free app that allows anyone to broadcast live audio so that people can listen on the go and feel as if they were there. Game Mic, it's in the emotions.
Welcome back inside Knights Field. Lone Peak started with the ball. They drove down the field pretty well, but a couple of penalties and big stops by the Miners defense forced them to turn it over on downs. We saw the Miners begin to march down the field as well, but they had their own self-inflicted penalties that backed them up a couple yards and ended up resulting in a punt that has us still knotted at 0 with 2:53 to go here in our first quarter. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 1-yard line after that exceptional punt by Riley Wicker. It was down that time by Talbot. Lone Peak offense looked pretty impressive on that first drive. Jackson Blake looking very comfortable. Made 4 appearances last season, really dominated against Westlake in his one true start that he had on the year. Shredded the Thunder defense and already off to a decent start today. Just some of those penalties, as we mentioned, really killed that previous drive they had, but both teams with multiple first downs on each of their first possessions. 2:53 to go, 1st and 10 from the 1-yard line. You practice every situation for these kind of moments. Just their second drive of the season, and the Knights already in danger of surrendering a safety if they can't get it out of their own end zone. Jace Tupia and the front for the Miners awaits the Lone Peak offense as we are still in a media break right now. Last one was pretty quick, but this one a little more lengthy. And we are set to resume play now. First and only game of high school football getting underway here in the state of Utah. And then tomorrow, every high school will be in action as football is back in its glory. 1st and 10 from the 1. Miners show blitz back out of it. 2 backs on each side of Jackson Blake. Blake waits, checks his wrist for the play. Play clock down to 8. Blake with it, tries to air it out, and able to get out of the end zone and shake 2 tackles as he survives another. What an impressive effort that time from Gabriel Tom. So Tom shaking 2 tackles in an effort to get a first down. Risky proposition always to throw backed up on your own 1-yard line, but a great decision that time from Blake as he's able to hook up with Tom. Tom remains in the backfield along with Wild. Over the middle of the field, pass called in, but then a devastating hit, but the reception, was actually dropped. Big time blast that time from Charger Dottie. Dottie came in like a heat-seeking missile to jar that one loose. Under 2:30 to play, 2nd and 10 from the 12. Blake takes a snap, blitz comes in, throws it out to Wild. Wild able to shake off a tackle on the right side. Wild spinning out, dragging defenders with him. Gets it close to the first down marker. And they will. It'll be a first down. What an effort from Wild. So it's been the backs on this drive early, as Brooks Wild and Gabriel Tom both moving the chains early for the Knights, who are now up to the 23 after starting on their own 1-yard line. Wild and Tom both remain in the game. Jackson Blake, the senior quarterback, off to an exceptional start. Blake motions both backs away. 3 receivers to the left. Blake looks that way. It's deflected. The front line of the Miners getting their hands up. Active hands leads to the deflection that time. Couldn't see who got the hand on it that time, but I do believe it was Peppa who was able to bat it away at the last second. So 2nd and 10 from the 23, 1:50 to go here in our first quarter. Blake, flanked by Wild and Tom still. Blake's got time, airs it out, likes the matchup, one-on-one, throw it up, and hauled in, shaking off the defender, crossing the 20, crossing the 10, and in for the touchdown. A big play for the Lone Peak Knights. That's Kyler Davis who brings it in. What a reception. A beautiful throw from Blake leads to the touchdown. Or excuse me, it was Jay-Sean Mayberry who makes the grab actually. So Mayberry tracks it perfectly, hauls it in, and a catch and run on what is a 77-yard touchdown for Jason Mayberry. So the sophomore receiver makes his impact early, 1:37 to play, and the PAT from Adam Connors is up and good. Knights strike first on their newly renovated field. 1:37 to go. You're watching Max Preps Radio.
In 5 plays and a 1-minute 12-second time of possession.
What's up, everyone? Thanks for listening in to Game Mike. Action should resume as soon as your broadcaster is ready to go. This is Game Mike.
Hey everyone, this is Chris Reeves.
So Jay-Sean Mayberry and the Lone Peak offense strikes first as Jackson Blake with his first passing touchdown of the day, and it was a beauty, a perfectly thrown ball on the sideline, right where receiver making a great play on the air. That time was Jay-Sean Mayberry. The sophomore gives us the first touchdown of the high school football season. So 7-0 with 1:37 to go. First time the Knights will kick it off. And it'll be the man who just knocked in the PAT, Adam Connors. Set to blast it in. Sudbury back on the kick. This one sails high. It looks like it'll be returnable. And going to attempt to bring it back is Talbot. Talbot met by a physical Lone Peak defense. CJ Rubble there on the stop. So Mayberry with the touchdown. The 73 yards. What'll be the response of the Miners? Sudbury remains on the field.
first and 10, Bigham Miners.
Salazar remains the signal caller. Salazar gives it to Sudbury. Sudbury up the middle, gets about 4.
Carson Sudbury, your ball carrier. Picks up 3 yards on the play. He stopped by
Gain of 3, 2nd and 7. Ball on the 20, just over a minute to go here in our first quarter. Salazar, the junior quarterback, 6 feet tall, under center. Gives it to Sudbury again. Sudbury makes a quick cut and is going to be right around the first down yardage. And it will be a first down. Mulitalo in on the stop.
Carson Sudbury, your ball carrier.
So back-to-back carries for Sudbury. Keeps the chains moving. The shifty Sudbury, one of the state's most explosive players, off to a strong start on this drive. Should be the final play of our first quarter here, as we have 25 seconds left in the quarter and about 13 left on the game clock. Salazar, they'll give it right up the middle this time. And charging ahead for a couple extra yards there is Tristan Brimhall.
Tristan Brimhall.
So Brimhall with a gain of about 4, we'll call it, or make it 5. 2nd and 5, and that'll do it for our first quarter. So 7-0. Lone Peak on their newly renovated field leads it over the Bigham Miners, courtesy of a beautiful throw from Jackson Blake and a nice catch and run from Jay Sean Mayberry. 7-0. We shift into the second, but we got to take a brief break first. Then we'll come back. You're watching Max Preps Radio.
Have you always wanted to be a sports broadcaster but didn't know how to get started? Well, Game Mic allows you to go out and practice, just like we need to practice as athletes. You can't get better without work, so gain that experience on Game Mic.
Max Preps is America's source for high school sports, and we're looking for more broadcasters out there that have an interest in providing live audio from their high school events. No experience needed, but it can be gained. Email socialmp@cbsinteractive.com to learn more. That's socialmp@cbsinteractive.com.
Hey everyone, this is Chris Rivas, co-founder of Game Mic. Thank you for listening in. Game Mic was built so any school, any program, any sport, anytime can create a live audio broadcast. We believe audio brings moments to life. Download Game Mic today in the app and Google Play Store. Game Mic, it's in the emotions.
Second quarter action set to get underway here at Lone Peak High School. We welcome you into the kickoff of the 2023 high school football season here in the state of Utah. If you're just joining us, it was Jay Sean Mayberry who made the big catch, 73 yards, the touchdown reception on a beautiful throw by Jackson Blake down the right sideline. Bingham's offense about to take the field again. Anthony Salazar off to a pretty strong start. Miners' physical rushing attack early has led to their first drive getting across midfield, but they weren't able to punch it in and had to settle for the punt. 7-0 here early. But Mulitalo and this Knights defense looking strong. This is a Lone Peak defense led by defensive coordinator Ryan Denny, who in 2022 helped this defense become the 7th ranked one in the 6A classification, holding teams to 19.7 points per game overall. This is a lengthy media break as we deal with TV having an impact here. Promise whatever games you tune in tomorrow will more than likely not have this long in between each game, but that's the roll of the dice you get when you're dealing with TV. Looks like we're just about set for action as Fred Fernandez's offense is almost ready to take the field. This is an offense that likes to get the ball to their playmakers in multiple ways. We've seen Brimhall get a carry, Maine's gotten carries, and of course Sudbury been featured early. Looks like Sudbury in the shotgun right now. No Salazar on the field. 3 receivers in a bunch set to the right. They'll shift it over. Now actually taking the snap, the new quarterback is Swenson, and we had movement up front. The Miners were ready with some trickery, but they won't get to run it because they're backed up 5 yards. Second drive that's contained a penalty to back them up here early.
Good ball, false start against the offense, 5-yard penalty.
They'll send Salazar back in, so whatever they were going to do that time, the snap was going to be directed to in the shotgun to Chase Swenson. He heads back to the sideline. So 2nd and 9 from the 27. As we're about to get the second quarter underway. Salazar under center. Sudbury in the backfield. Instead, they give it to Maine, actually. Drives ahead before he's dragged down. Actually, Brimhall that time on the carry. Deacon Towell on the stop.
It's a third down.
3rd and 3. Ball on the 33. Brimhall and Sudbury, the two backs lined up to the left side. Salazar pitches it to Maine. It's been their best play so far, but this time it's snuffed out. Lone Peak making a stand. That time in on the stop was Junior Tahi.
He stopped in the backfield for a loss.
The linebacker comes shooting through the gap and makes a play that brings out the Miners punt unit for the second consecutive time. That previous drive for Lone Peak was 100 yards in which they scored a touchdown. They were down on their 1. The reason they started on their 1-yard line was a beautiful punt from Riley Wicker. He'll try to recapture another beautiful punt here. He's punted away. It's 4th and 5 from the 31. Wicker sends it. Fielded cleanly. No fair catch called for, but dragged down quickly after bringing it in was Navahina. 10:41. 1st and 10 from the 31. Lone Peak's offense so far has crossed midfield in all 3 of their drives. Their first drive started on the 25. They've stalled on 4th down, and the last one was that 100-yard touchdown drive, courtesy of the 73-yard reception from Jay Sean Mayberry. 2 backs in the backfield this time. Blake with a clean pocket, looks, has a wide open Wild, who makes the low catch. Wild breaking free, crossing the 20, crossing the 10. No one's going to get him. Brooks Wild running loose, and he's in for the touchdown. Second of the day for the Knights, and they have the early lead up by 2 scores. Wild slipped out of the backfield, and no one was able to get him. Blake went through his progression, saw the uncovered Wild to the right, and that time it was Wild. It almost hit the ground. It was a low catch, but the speed of Wilds, after he was able to slow down, haul it in, he was able to accelerate quickly and then broke free into the end zone for the score. 10:31 to go in the second quarter. And it's the Lone Peak Knights up by 2 scores, 14-0 on Max Prep Radio. We'll see what Bingham's response is when we come back.
Hey everyone, this is Chris Rivas, co-founder of Game Mike. Thank you for listening in. Game Mike was built so any school, any program, any sport, anytime can create a live audio broadcast. We believe audio brings moments to life. Download Game Mike today in the app and Google Play Store. Game Mike, it's in the emotions.
Are you a parent with multiple active kids? Are you at one event while your spouse is at another? That's where Game Mike comes in, the free app that allows anyone to broadcast live audio so that people can listen on the go and feel as if they were there. Game Mike, it's in the emotions.
What's up, everyone? Thanks for listening in to Game Mike. Action should resume as soon as your broadcaster is ready to go. This is...
Hey everyone, this is Chris Rivas, co-founder of Game Mike. Thank you for listening in. Game Mike was built so any school, any program, any sport, anytime can create a live audio broadcast. We believe audio brings moments to life. Download Game Mike today in the app and Google Play.
What's up, everyone? Thanks for listening in to Game Mike. Action should resume as soon as your broadcaster is ready to go. This is Game Mike.
Are you a parent with multiple active kids? Are you at one...
What's up, everyone? Thanks for listening in to Game Mic. Action should resume as soon as your broadcaster is ready to go. This is Game Mic.
Hey everyone, this is Chris Rivas, co-founder.
All it took was one play for the Lone Peak offense to get into the end zone. It was Brooks Wild who was running wild on the wheel route down the right sideline who got in for the score. It's a 14-0 advantage here early. Adam Connors set to boot it away where Sudbury.
Return is Anthony Salazar and Carson Sudbury.
Sudbury watches it. Sudbury wants to take it out, but was in the end zone, so it'll be a touchback.
For a touchback, he'll come out to the 20 and be first and 10 for the Miners.
10:31, 14-0, the early Lone Peak lead as we have an injury on the field at the moment. A Knight is currently down as he's being tended to. We will take a brief break for the injured Knight. Looks to be a cramp as they're stretching out. We'll be back in a moment.
Max Preps is America's source for high school sports, and we're looking for more broadcasters out there that have an interest in providing live audio from their high school events. No experience needed, but it can be gained.
Welcome back inside to Lone Peak High School, where it's a 14-0 lead for the Knights. Bigham making their way out.
Back on the field from the 20-yard line. It's first and 10.
Salazar in the gun. Quick snap. They'll look to the middle of the field where Sudbury hauls in the quick slant. Sudbury met quickly on the stop.
Salazar completes to Carson.
Landon Goff makes the tackle.
Landon Goff with the stop. 7-yard gain of play brings up second down. 3 for the Miners.
So it'll be 2nd and 3. Salazar. Motion Sudbury out. Fakes it. Salazar nowhere to go. Lone Peak all over him. He's dragged down behind the line of scrimmage.
By Anthony Salazar. He stopped for a loss by Tegan Towell and Drew Gunnarsson.
So it'll be 3rd and 5 now. After a bevy of Lone Peak Knights bring down Salazar on the attempted keeper. 9:20 to go. Salazar, 2 backs behind him. Doesn't give it to Sudbury. Salazar rolling out, looking downfield, lost it out, has a man wide open, and it's hauled in! Big gainer for Bigham! Bryant Jackson dragged down after breaking free. The biggest play of the day for the Miners. And they flip the field position. So 1st and 10 from the 35. It looked like Bigham was going to be in danger of punting for what would have been the 3rd time today. $8:45 to go in our first half. Salazar gives it. Brimhall breaking free. Brimhall has a block out in front of him. Brimhall crosses the 10, forced out of bounds. Landon Goff saves a touchdown, but Brimhall gets it over to the 5. 8:28 to go now off the big gainer from Brimhall after the reception from Bryant Jackson. Gave the Miners offense some much needed life.
7-yard line, it's first and goal for the Miners.
Salazar with Sudbury and Swenson behind him. They'll give it to Sudbury. Sudbury runs into a wall. Lone Peak all over him on the carry up the middle. 7 yardage to go. Not sure if he gained any on that one, so we'll give him 1. So 2nd and 6. .805 to go.
Second down goal for the Miners.
Salzar under center. Fakes the give. Looks to the outside. Has a man open. It's Sudbury. Sudbury nearly tripped up, but he finds a way into the end zone. Carson Sudbury with the touchdown. Miners on the board. Bigham looking to even this up to a 1-score game. Sudbury caught it in the flat. Nearly had his legs taken out, but still managed to get in the end zone. Huge play for Bigham. It all started with the big play that time. The throw by Salzar on the move to the right. Is able to connect to a wide open Bryant Jackson. Then it was Brim Hall with the big carry to get him inside the 10. And after a short run by Sudbury, Sudbury breaks open in the flat. Nice throw from Salzar as Sudbury has his first touchdown of the season. We expect it to be many. 14-7, 7:46 to play. Miners find themselves back in this game. It was 3rd and 5, and when we look back at this game, one of the plays of the game could potentially be the big throw that time that was made to keep the drive alive from Salzar, hooking up to Bryant Jackson. So Bigham found some offensive life. This is a team that loves to run the ball, but when needed to, they can air it out, and they're able to do it that time with some success. So 7:46 to play here, 14-7. We've seen a contrasting offensive styles here early. We've seen Lone Peak be more pass heavy. They've had both their touchdowns come through the air. And a reminder, last year in his few starts that he did have, Jackson Blake only tossed 5 touchdowns overall, with 4 of them coming against Westlake. And he's looking sensational so far. And that's with this Lone Peak team breaking in a lot of new receivers. Trey Robinson, really the only receiver of the mainstays on varsity last year, returns for this Knights offense overall. Lone Peak did have another starting quarterback last year, but still a new group and a new rapport that needs to be formed amongst the offense. And so far, that rapport has been very sharp here early. Cole Christensen's off to Utah State. Crew McChesney's over playing baseball at BYU now as well. Max Bateman also moved on, the talented tight end. So there's a lot of talented pass catchers that Lone Peak is without. Bigham not without their own losses, though. Havia Fotu, their leader in terms of carries last season, no longer with the program after graduating. And then you get Dallin Martinez, a starting quarterback who's exceptional running Fred Fernandez's offense, has moved on. But Salzar off to a pretty strong start here early and has made a number of big throws. Lone Peak back to return it now. Wicker with his big leg, ready to boom it away.
Kicking off for Bigham, number 9.
7:46.
Back to receive Matthias Nawahine and Trey Robinson.
Nawahina and Robinson awaiting the delivery from Wicker. With 7:46 to go in our first half. And it'll be a touchback. Wicker's had some strong kicks here early and forces Lone Peak to start at their 25. Knights offense stalled in their first drive of the day. In their second drive, they started on the 1-yard line, but were able to get a 73-yard touchdown, courtesy of the sensational catch and run by Jay-Sean Mayberry. Then Brooks Wild. It was Wild broke free on the wheel route and got into the end zone for the score. Now Jackson Blake making his way back out. Blake motions a man across. One back in the backfield with him in Wild. Blake with time. Looks. Can't cook up with his man. Down the left sideline, his intended target was Logan Hopines.
Intended for Logan Hopines.
7:41 to go. Mentioned this Lone Peak offense been pass heavy early. They do have some offensive linemen who are imposing up front, including Austin Pay, one of the state's top offensive linemen in the class of 25. Also, Missione, Patauni at the left guard spot. Blake gives it to Wild, actually keeps it. Blake on the quarterback keeper, his first rush of the day, and he'll gain about 5. 7:30 to go, 2nd and 4 from the 26 now.
Jackson Blake with the quarterback keep. He's hit by James Lowther. 6-yard gain on the play. 3rd down and 4 for the Knights.
3rd down and 4 now. Blake with time over the middle of the field, has Hoffines wide open. Hoffines dragged down, but not before he picked up the first down off the reception.
Blake completes to Logan.
Lone Peak able to extend their drive. Blake's been dialed in early, makes another exceptional decision, finds the wide open Hoffines in the middle of the field.
Charger Doty with the stop for the Miners.
Dottie credited with the stop. 6:43 to go, 14-7. Miners trying to get a stop so they can tie the game up. The Bigham Miners will get the ball to start the second half. Lone Peak trying to raise their lead back up to 2 touchdowns. Brooks Wild with the carry. Wild charges ahead. And Wild with a gain of about 3 right off the right tackle.
Wild, the ball carrier.
Wild, a physical back. 114 carries last year, 585 yards, 5 touchdowns for the 5'9", 190-pound junior a year ago, now a senior in this offense. Already got his first touchdown of the season off that wheel route on the previous drive. It'll be 2nd and 6 from the 37, the Lone Peak 37, with 6:03 to play. Just 6 minutes to go till halftime. Blake surveys the field, has a matchup he likes in Hoffine, tries to throw it to Hoffine, but ends up overshooting him down the right side of the field. Nice coverage that time by McBride, coming off the linebacker spot to pick up Hoffine. Sun might have gotten in his eyes a little bit. Sun was tucked behind clouds for the majority of kickoff, but has now poked its way out. Appreciate you all for joining us once again here on Max Preps Radio. We're here live from Lone Peak High School, where the Knights lead at 14-7 with 5:49 to go. It's 3rd and 6 from the 37. Jackson Blake has been sharp early. They set up the screen. Wild's got it. Tupaya tries to chase him down from behind. He's unable to. But the ball popped out at the last second. It looked like that Wild was down, but instead he lost the ball before he hit the ground and able to get under it and make a clean recovery for the Bigham Miners that time was Charger Dottie. Oh, he was ruled down. There was a lot of chaos and confusion. I thought that when he had hit down, it was going to be ruled down, but based on how the play played out, I did not hear any whistles, so it seemed at first that Bigham was going to have the luck swing their way that time. But the beautiful screen pass set up that time leads to the first down. Tupaya nearly tripped him up at his legs. But instead, it'll be a first down before McBride made the stop, and what was nearly a forced fumble as well. 5:10 to go, ball on the 49, and we got whistles. Not sure. There looks like they're going to reset the play clock after some confusion there for a moment. So play clock now at 20. Game clock continuing to run down to 5:10 now. It's 1st and 10 from the 49 on the Miners side of the field now after the big screen play. Gary Trowbridge putting on a show early, the Lone Peak offensive coordinator. Eric Jones, the head coach and defensive coordinator for the Miners, trying to put a stop to it. Wide open. Robinson brings it in, but his momentum carries him out of bounds at the 20. Robinson burned Dottie on the double move.
He picks up the first down for the Knights.
Exceptional work by Robinson, working the left sideline, and Blake saw him all the way.
Gain of the play goes out of bounds at the 21-yard line.
So 4:52 to go, 1st and 10 from the 21. Just over an hour into action here now, or about an hour with our delayed start that we had. Wild, the lone back, Blake under center. And we got flags, looks like a false start, as Lone Peak coaches quite frustrated that time. There's a big Lone Peak offensive line, as we mentioned, led by Austin Pay. So they'll back them up 5. So it'll be 1st and 15 with 4:52 to go. Ball on the 26. 14-7. So far, Robinson, Hoffines, and of course, Mayberry all making plays early. 1st and 15. Blake now in the gun. Nearly had a false start. In fact, we will have a false start. So just the self-inflicted penalties continue. Lone Peak has had a number of them. They've been able to overcome them. Bingham has had their fair share of them. They've been able to overcome them overall. 1st and 15 is about to become 1st and 20. Robinson, if his momentum didn't carry him out of bounds, would have easily been able to jog in for a touchdown, as he had really left Dottie in the dust. So the Knights offense looking to get back on track, coming off back-to-back touchdown drives. It's an offense that averaged over 20 points per game, looking to reach over half that already. Over the middle of the field, overshoots his intended target that time. He was looking for Mayberry over the middle of the field, nearly intercepted. We know what Mayberry can do with the ball in his hands after he had the big touchdown. That time Blake tried to get it there. Blake feeling like he has to force some stuff downfield a little bit, because it's 2nd and 20 from the 31 now with 4:47 to go. Two backs in the backfield. Wild, one of them. Their other end is Gabriel Tom. They'll give it to Wild. Wild gets outside the tackle to the left side, but it'll be a gain of only about 5 or 6, as the Miners were ready for it. Wild forced out of bounds. 4:34 to go. It'll be 3rd down and 14 here. Lone Peak's got to get at least 14 yards if they want to move the chains and have an opportunity to get in the end zone once again.
3rd down and 14 for the Knights.
Jackson Blake gets the snap. Only a 3-man rush. Pressure breaks through. Blake on the move. Lofts it. It's a high throw. Overshoots his intended target. It'll be 4th down and 14. Great rush that time, put on by the front of the Miners. Tupia in on the pressure. They're going to try the field goal here. Connors on to attempt a lengthy field goal. Connors looking to make it more than a touchdown lead again, and it looks like it would have been good, but there was a whistle before. Do we have another false start? Offsides. Trying to figure out what the issue is right now. Like I said, nothing's been signaled or relayed to us at this moment. Appreciate all of you for joining us on this Thursday night out here at Lone Peak High School. Waiting on everyone to reset. And we wait for the call. So either way, I'm not exactly entirely sure what the penalty was, but I know it's on Lone Peak. Oh, it sounds like a legal substitution, I believe is what was said. So they'll have to back it up. We'll see if Lone Peak still wants to kick it. Coach Brockbank is protesting right now, but nothing's going to change. 3:55 to go. (14-7). Long kick from Connors. They trust him. Can he deliver? Connors, big leg. Is that in? He drilled it. Adam Connors from 47 yards out. Wow. What a miraculous field goal. 47 yards. Adam Connors, how do you do? It's a 10-point advantage now, 17-7. Lone Peak with the lead. 3:50 to go. Miners offense, more built for the ground and pound. They're going to have to work quickly here if they want to score. Now, Bigham does have an opportunity here, though. They could score here. They do get the ball to start the second half, so they could potentially take the lead or at least tie it or shrink the deficit.
And a 3-minute 57-second time of possession. And with the Connors 47-yard field goal.
Lone Peak had one of the top kickers in the state last year in Ian Sanchez, and with Adam Connors making field goals like that, they're going to be A-okay without Sanchez. 47 yards, Adam Connors. What a blast. We've had a number of miraculous Lone Peak plays here early, whether you're talking about the kick from Connors, the 73-yard catch and run from Jayshawn Mayberry, and Wild making a good effort on the wheel route. Sudbury, one of the most explosive athletes in the state, back for the kick, but this one's going out of the end zone. Connors keeps his booming foot to work, knocking that one out of the end zone. Jackson Blake has been sharp early, a little bit of an overthrow that time, but on his last third down, but he was facing pressure from the interior that forced him out of the pocket and had to make a tough throw on the move. 3:50 to go. Sun could be in some receivers' eyes now. It could be something to play in. We'll see what Fred Fernandez in this offense. We're going to try to cook up here. Salzar starts in the gun.
First and 10 from the 20.
Brimhall next to him. Nearly a false start that time. Salzar rotates back, wide open. They set up the screen, and it's a physical and fantastic tackle for a loss that time, although we did have an early flag. The stop that time made by Nawahine. So Nawahine comes in and takes out the Miner by his legs. And that's going to make it was first and 10. We'll see what the flag was, though. Had a number of laundry on the field here early in this one, as expected, first game of the season. And on Thursday as well. Sounds like the penalty will be declined. It was against Bigham, but I believe it was declined. So we'll make it 2nd and 12 after the 2-yard loss. Matthias Navahina has made a number of big plays from the defensive back spot on the outside. Comes up huge there. Salzar with under 3:30 to go. They'll give it on the quick carry. Gain of about 6 off tackle. Lone Peak not opting to use any timeouts with over 3 minutes to go. We'll see if they get another stop here. They might change. Muitalo in on the stop. Change of personnel for the Miners. Play clock down to 15. Game clock at 2:55. 3rd down and 6. Salzar under center. Lone Peak close to the line. They'll give it on the motion. And did he get there? He did. A big-time carry once again for Hunter Main. Main with the first down. So Maine gets the first with just over 2:30 to play. Coach Brockbank probably happy he didn't use a timeout. Salzar in the Miners offense. Up to the 38 now, but it's still their own 38, so they got a lot of work to do in 2:37 if they want to punch one in the end zone. They get to Sudbury. Salzar rolling out, has a man open the flat, gets it over to Brimhall. Brimhall runs out of bounds to conserve time. That play took just 7 seconds, so 2:30 to go as they cross midfield. This is what the Miners offense does. They have everyone line up, tight formation, force the defense to come in close as well, and then they can spread it out a little bit like that, and it leads to big gainers. 17-7, 2:30 to go. It's not a traditional drop back offense. Seen a lot of bootlegs and play action early. Only 3 seconds on the play clock. Is the Miners going to be able to get this off? 1 second, and Coach Fernandez wisely burns a timeout.
Timeout taken by the Miners.
Bigham will reset on the sideline. 2:30 to go. 2 timeouts still for the Miners. All 3 for Lone Peak if they end up getting the ball back. Clock had drained a little bit too far that time. Should be a 10 to 15 minute halftime, somewhere in that range. We'll update you on that when we know. This will step away in 2 minutes and 30 seconds of game time. Ball's on the 47 of the Knights. As the Miners trying to punch in what would be their second touchdown of the day. Sudbury already credited with 1 for Lone Peak. Wild has 1 through the air. Mayberry also with 1 through the air. And the big time field goal of 47 yards by Anderson. What leads to this one pretty much guaranteeing a Lone Peak lead going into halftime no matter the result of this drive. Salazar in the gun, rush of 5. Salazar breaking free. Salazar going to keep it. Salazar across the 40. Salazar get a block, stays in bounds before stepping out. Salazar with a big gainer as he scrambles for a gain of over 20. So ball now on the 27. It was a gain of exactly 20. 2:22 to go, and the Miners offense continues to do an exceptional job of conserving clock. (17-7). 2:22 to go. Ball on the 27. Salazar back under center with Brimhall and Sudbury behind him. They'll fake the give, pressure in his face. Sudbury open. Sudbury gets it, no one in front of him. Sudbury across the 20, lowers his shoulder and pushed out of bounds inside the 15. 2nd and 13. Once again, the Miners able to get out of bounds. They got a lot of time to work with. Probably going to think about starting to run the ball here to try to make sure that, and actually they will say he did not get out of bounds, so the clock will continue to run. But either way, it's probably okay with the Miners at this point, as it's 1st and 10 from the 12, so they're thinking they can get in while also leaving Lone Peak with little to potentially no time to get in the end zone. We hear whistles, and it looks like we'll have a Lone Peak timeout with 1:45 to play. Knights defense with their backs against the walls here early. We'll see if Matthias Navahina and Bat Muitalo can get their teams to get a stand, or if the Miners are going to be able to once again shrink the deficit to 1 score. It's 17-7. .147 to play. Appreciate all of you for joining us again on Max Preps Radio. First game of the season of the high school football season. We'll have action on tomorrow as well, all across the state. And you can find action all across the country on Max Preps Radio, as a matter of fact. High school football getting underway this week, and you'll have high school football, or just football in general, at least at the high school level in your life, until December. Always the best time of year when fall and August collide. Salazar out of the timeout, gives it to Brimhall. Brimhall dragging some defenders. Brimhall dragged down inside the 5. Brimhall with 1:35 to go gets his team in prominent scoring position. And looks like we're going to see, we might have a flag actually. Could back up Bigham. It was a big run by Brimhall. Exceptional blocking all half long. Nick Halleck, Jaden Overstreet, Jackson Overstreet, all putting in work up front to lead that Miners offensive line. 1:29 to go off the whistle. It'll be 2nd and 1. Or that's actually, it'll be 2nd and 3 based on the spot. The scoreboard says 2nd and 1. Ball on the 3. Actually, 2nd and 1 to get a first down. 3 yards to score. 1:29 to go in the quarter.
The penalty is unsportsmanlike conduct against Lone Peak.
Oh, unsportsmanlike conduct against Lone Peak.
With an ejection.
With an ejection, matter of fact. Wow. I did not see what happened, but that is going to do it for Fihi Muwanga. The 6'1", 240-pound junior is retired via the ejection. So Mwanga's day is over. Strong presence on the interior for the Lone Peak defense. I have no idea what he did to incur such a flag, and we're going to see Coach Brockbank is curious about what he did to incur such a flag as well, as he is making his way out to talk with our referees. So they'll talk it over again. This game's grinding to a halt a little bit inside the 5. It'll be 2nd and 1 from the 3, so 1 yard for a first down, 2 to get in the end zone and bring this within 1 score. What a great start we've had so far here at Lone Peak High School. Look at how each of these teams' seasons ended last year. The Miners and Knights met in the quarterfinals of the 6A high school football playoffs last year, in which Bigham knocked off Lone Peak. It was actually the victory that Bigham had that allowed them to advance to the semifinals and retire Lone Peak's season. That was the first time in 8 years that Lone Peak didn't make it up to the semifinals and thus make it up to Rice-Eccles Stadium.
Thanks some of our great sponsors. Texas Steel.
So Bigham no doubt eager to try to get off to a win here early, and Lone Peak looking for retribution after having their season retired at the hands of the Knights a year ago. Bigham lost to the eventual 6A state champions, the Skyridge Falcons. Skyridge in Lone Peak's region, and Bigham now with the 6A runner-up Corner Canyon Chargers in their region. The state of Utah home to some of the top high school football players in the West. You got Isaac Wilson, the younger brother of Zach Wilson, committed to go to the University of Utah. Isaiah Garcia, one of the top offensive linemen in the state, also committed to go to the University of Utah. And that's just scratching the surface. And some of the players in the 25 and 26 class, exceptional. Utah, one of the most underrated states when it comes to high school football talent in the country. 2nd and 1, ball on the 3, 1:29 to go. Salazar and the Miners offense looking to punch it in. Clock will begin to wind. Salazar wastes no time, gives it to Brimhall. Brimhall charges ahead and dragged down. Big time stop that time by Junior Tahi. Tahi wrestles him down, and it's 2nd and 2 with the ball on the 2. Just over a minute to play. Honestly, the Miners might be okay with that. Obviously, they would rather have a touchdown, but leaves even less amount of time on the clock for Lone Peak's offense to go to work. And we've seen them score touchdowns in rapid fashion with the long touchdown to Wild, as well as the long touchdown to Mayberry as well.
Now from the 2-yard line.
40 seconds left. Salazar under center. Gives it again to Brimhall. Brimhall trying to get to the outside. He shakes off one tackle, but is dragged down. Swung down that time by Goff. And we'll see the Miners take a timeout with 34 seconds left.
Timeout taken by the Miners.
So 2nd and 2 still. Looks like a gain of nothing, as that time Brimhall tried to get to the right. Brimhall, 2 consecutive carries, getting it inside the 4, and has not been able to get the ball in the end zone. Credit the Lone Peak front 7 for standing up and being strong early. 34 seconds left in the half, 17-7. 2nd down, 2 yards to go with the ball on the 2. Mulitalo in the front of the Knights with back-to-back stops. They're going to need 2 more if they hope to force the Miners into halftime with just the lone score. And if Lone Peak wants to maintain their 2-touchdown lead, they're going to have to stop them not once but twice again inside the 5. Sun is nearly set here at Knights Field. As the wind picks up a little bit. 37 seconds left. We already had an ejection here early. We've had numerous penalties. Everything in the makings of a Week 1 contest. Sudbury jogs out. I don't see Salazar, so they'll try the trick play. They wanted to attempt this earlier. It'll be Chase Swenson taking the direct snap. Actually, at the moment, looks to be Sudbury, and now Lone Peak called the timeout because they weren't ready for it. So the chess match ensuing between Coach Fernandez and Brockbank here early. 37 seconds, 7 seconds left to go still. If this is your first time joining us, our first drive would belong to the Lone Peak Knights. They drove down the field, got it, over midfield, but then stalled after some penalties and a strong fourth down stand by the Miners. Then the Miners got it across midfield, but their offensive stall due to some penalties as well. But an exceptional punt by Riley Wicker led to Lone Peak starting their second drive of the game on the 1-yard line, and they were able to get it out of the end zone courtesy of some clutch throws by Jackson Blake. Blake would then a few plays later connect with Jay Sean Mayberry down the right sideline for a 73-yard touchdown for the first touchdown in the state of Utah for high school football this season. The following drive, Bigham would stall on their offensive possession and then be forced to punt. And then the very first play of the next drive, it was Brooks Wild on the wheel route who got free and scored down the right sideline, making it a 14-0 advantage. Bigham would drive down and score on the next possession to Sudbury. And on the last time we saw Lone Peak's offense, they blasted in a 47-yard field goal. But right now, 3rd and 4 with 37 seconds to go. Salazar with time, got pressure. Mulitalo with his first sack of the season, and it couldn't have come at a bigger time in the first half. Bingham's got one timeout left. They're going to let the clock run a little bit, though, to try to make sure whatever play they run next is the final one of the half. Mulitalo broke free off the left side and closed in quickly on Salazar, dragging him down. Coach Jones bleeding the clock as long as he can. It's down to 9, 8. We're waiting 6, and still at 5, at 3. At 2 seconds, or 1.82, tomato. He burns the timeout. So literally making sure this will be the final play, and I believe it's going to be a field goal. But what a play by Mulitalo, one of the top defensive players on the Knights, comes up with the sack. It was 3rd and 4. Bigham is going to be kicking themselves. They had 3 plays inside the 5, and they weren't able to punch it into the end zone. Salazar and Coach Fernandez hashing something out right now on the sideline as the True try to work through what is going to be a difficult settle, as they'll be forced to settle for hopefully a potential 3 points if you're the Miners, and Lone Peak will be looking to block the kick potentially. Reminder, halftime coming up. It'll either be 10 or 15 minutes here, as everyone's being called back over.
All right, if you're looking for a hamburger, the concession stand is temporarily out.
Like we said, believe this will be a kick.
After halftime, just not.
Lone Peak lines up for some trickery first, but we believe that's all theatrics at the moment. Iono on to attempt the field goal with 1 second left. They actually motion Iono out, so they're actually instead going to have Frankham take the kick. 17-7, final play of our first half. Frankham trying to make it a 1-score game. Kick is up, nearly blocked, but it's no good, off to the right. And the Miners come away scoreless on their final drive of the first half. So that'll do it for our first half. Jackson Blake has been sharp early, hooking up with Mayberry and Wild, as well as Carson Anderson on the long field goal, what leads to the 17-7 victory after Sudbury's lone touchdown, and the stall that time from Bigham as they miss the short field goal. That'll do it for our first half. We'll step away on Max Preps Radio, but be back with you in about 15 minutes for the start of the second here on Max Preps Radio. But going into halftime, 17-7, the Lone Peak Knights lead the Bigham Miners to kick off the 2023 high school football season in the state of Utah.
Have you always wanted to be a sports broadcaster but didn't know how to get started? Well, Game Mike allows you to go out and practice, just like we need to practice as athletes. You can't get better without work, so gain that experience on Game Mike.
Are you a parent with multiple active kids? Are you at one event while your spouse is at another? That's where Game Mike comes in, the free app that allows anyone to broadcast live audio so that people can listen on the go and feel as if they were there. Game Mike, it's in the emotions.
What's up, everyone? Thanks for listening in to Game Mike. Action should resume as soon as your broadcaster is ready to go. This is Game Mike. Max Preps is America's source for high school sports, and we're looking for more broadcasters out there that have an interest in providing live audio from their high school events. No experience needed, but it can be gained. Email socialmp@cbsinteractive.com to learn more. That's socialmp@cbsinteractive.com.
Hey everyone, this is Chris Rivas, co-founder of Game Mike. Thank you for listening in. Game Mike was built so any school, any program, any sport, anytime can create a live audio broadcast. We believe audio brings moments to life. Download Game Mike today in the app and Google Play Store. Game Mike, it's in the emotions.
Have you always wanted to be a sports broadcaster but didn't know how to get started? Well, Game Mike allows you to go out and practice, just like we need to practice as athletes. You can't get better without work, so gain that experience on Game Mike.